We're stuck in Vermont.
Welcome to Stuck in Vermont, brought to you by 7 Days and sponsored by Hotel Vermont and Vermont Tourism. My name is Ava Solberger. We are here in downtown Burlington on Church Street, and this is my 420th episode. And since it's 420, I thought I would focus on marijuana in the Green Mountain State. For those of you who don't know, 420 is slang for smoking weed. And at this moment in time, marijuana is a hot topic in our state. Vermont was the first state to ban slavery, legalize gay marriage through legislation, and mandate labeling of genetically modified food. Will Vermont also be the first state in the Northeast to legalize marijuana for recreational use, and the first to do so through legislative action?
To be clear, there's no public health reason to legalize marijuana as far as I'm concerned. So really it's a matter of ensuring that those health concerns and the potential negative effects are highlighted and addressed in any kind of legislation going forward.
Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell.
Pot, dope, marijuana, cannabis, weed, whatever you call it, this hallucinogenic narcotic was once reviled in films like Reefer Madness and later portrayed by lovable characters like Spicoli in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
All I need are some tasty waves, cool buzz, and I'm fine.
As more Americans experiment with marijuana, pot has undergone a sea change in popular culture.
420 is the day on which people who already smoke pot almost every day smoke it again.
With movie stars like Seth Rogen promoting cannabis freely, both in his popular films and when visiting the UVM campus.
Should marijuana be legal in Vermont?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
I know, well, medical marijuana.
Okay, good.
For decades, Vermont has had a reputation as being 420 friendly, thanks to our high density of hippies, fish heads, and weed-loving college students.
Has there ever not been weed in Vermont? Negative. There's always been weed.
So we talked to people up and down the state about marijuana in the Green Mountains.
I do see tides turning, even political attitudes changing towards it, but the laws still exist, our prisons are still full.
Well, there's just sort of this stigma that everybody who smokes weed is a burnout and they're not actually doing anything important. They're just like sitting in their dorm room and smoking weed, and that's not true.
Adult use marijuana is currently legal in 4 states, and medical marijuana is legal in 23 states. Medical marijuana has been legal in Vermont since 2004, and starting in 2011, the state permitted 4 dispensaries to sell marijuana to chronically ill patients.
It was just a small group of sick people who, amongst other medicines and treatments, found that cannabis worked for them.
And we've had, 50 years of Hollywood kind of portraying what cannabis use is, and what we've learned is it's nothing like that. And the people that are coming into the dispensaries are really a diverse cross of Vermonters.
We have a lot of customers who come in with experience, and we have just as many who come in with none.
Do you tell people where you work?
Yes. I do. Yeah, I'm really proud of it, actually. And I feel like it's a form of education for people to see someone like me, the mother of 3. I'm trying to make it not so taboo.
I was in a spot with my MS where I was on 17 different meds at one point. Plus, they were shoving chemo in me. Not having any pain, that's pretty friggin' good.
Currently, marijuana use is quote-unquote decriminalized, meaning that if you get caught with small amounts of marijuana or smoking marijuana, you get essentially a parking ticket. And what we're really talking about here is whether to change that even one step further, to the point that it's actually legal and regulated.
I headed to Montpelier to listen to citizens testifying at a Senate Committee on Government Operations hearing at the State House.
We have a chance to really do something revolutionary here.
I think anytime we tackle this kind of a question, it's historic. It was historic when we did civil unions. It was historic when we did marriage equality, when we voted against the continued operation of Vermont Yankee.
Vermont has an opportunity to create a thriving new economy based on our values.
and our traditions.
If this happens in Vermont, how should it happen? And my personal feeling is that it's really hard to make a decision about should it happen or shouldn't it happen without specifics.
So we're all in agreement that we don't want big business in Vermont. And we're all in agreement that we want a clean, good product to sell. What we're looking at here is keeping it local, keeping it simple.
In other words, if I planted my 6 acres of fields with marijuana, I'd have an income before expenses of $1.2 million a year, which would be not bad. And this is one of the reasons I suggest that hardworking, long-suffering Vermont farmers should have dibs.
And there is a huge economic benefit to being legal in Vermont before Mass, Maine, Rhode Island, and the 5 million people who live out in Montreal.
My feeling is that we need to pass something. That we need to, because we'll never get it exactly perfect. We found that with the medical marijuana bill and with the dispensary bill, we passed it, the sky did not fall, and we've made changes.
So there are an enormous amount of costs, healthcare costs and costs to society that are associated with increased marijuana use.
So more high schoolers in Vermont use marijuana than smoke cigarettes. So the question there is it working? Or could we do better? You know, we can stress the harm messages in terms of driving, educate Vermonters in general about the harmful effects of marijuana on adolescent brains.
If someone's 18 and old enough to be able to fly overseas and like fight and possibly die for their country, they should have the choice to be able to drink alcohol or smoke marijuana, you know?
I think that we should wait because I think the scientific research is not yet, there is no scientific consensus yet on how it affects your brain, especially during developmental stages.
I like weed. I don't really think there's a big problem with it as long as people are educated correctly about it and know how to handle it.
We're challenged by not having really a lot of data and a lot of good controlled data as we do with other kind of drugs, primarily because it's been a DEA Schedule 1, so you can't really do those tests.
Research is important, and one of the reasons that I think we should legalize it is so we can do more research.
All of the problems that we discovered with tobacco, cancer, emphysema, right down the line, in 1950, we didn't know them.
Prohibition hasn't worked. We're creating too many people with criminal records.
I mean, alcohol, I think, in my opinion, can do a lot more damage than marijuana can.
Prescription drugs are weird because there's like serious addiction problems that happen with that.
Tobacco's legal. There are 1,000 people that will die prematurely in Vermont this year from tobacco.
And if you want to end the black market, then put it in storefronts.
And it's a choice that an adult should make.
The Senate Judiciary Committee will likely consider a bill to legalize recreational use of marijuana in 2016. And in the meantime, we will get stuck in Vermont for you again real soon. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and sign up for our email alerts. There's footage of a hand smoking a fatty. That's your hand, that's your fatty. Okay.
So when I see like an 11 o'clock news, and there's this unknown individual, and it's like thing, the Addams family, he reaches out, he grabs the fatty after death.
So yesterday I was in Montpelier for the hearing, and Eli Harrington actually brought you up.
Eli should be down here painting right now.